Don't remove it, she pleaded, but the cowboy did, and what he saw shattered him. The twin suns of the desert planet Iridia hung low in the sky, casting long golden amber shadows across the dusty town of Copper Sands. The wooden boards of the old saloon creaked in the hot wind, and the hum of abandoned hover trains echoed faintly across the cracked streets. It was the kind of place where time seemed to have slowed, almost as if the rest of the galaxy had forgotten it existed. Rafe Dalton rode slowly into town on his hoverbike, the engine thrumming like a heartbeat beneath him. The desert wind whipped against his leather jacket and scarf, and he shaded his eyes against the glaring sun. His boots tapped lightly against the metal stirrups as he scanned the empty streets. Copper Sands was quiet, almost too quiet. The town had the kind of silence that made a man feel like he was being watched even when no one was there. Rafe had been to a lot of frontier towns in his time, some full of life, some empty and lonely, but there was something different here, something almost alive in the stillness. Rafe's gaze fell on a small outpost on the edge of town, a wooden shack patched together with sheets of metal. Smoke curled lazily from a narrow chimney. There was movement inside, a faint shadow, a figure bending over a workbench. Curious, Rafe pushed his hoverbike to the side and dismounted. The door creaked as he stepped inside. The room smelled faintly of ozone and warm metal, a strange but comforting scent. Tools and small mechanical parts were scattered across the table. At the center of it all was a young woman, her hair tied back in a messy braid, her sleeves rolled up. She was focused on something small on her arm, a soft glow emanating from beneath the leather cuff she wore. "Hello," Rafe said, trying to keep his voice calm. The woman jumped slightly but didn't turn around. "I wasn't expecting anyone," she said, her voice low but firm. She turned then, and Rafe could see the cautious eyes that studied him as if he were both interesting and dangerous. "I'm just passing through," Rafe said. "Name's Rafe Dalton." He tipped his hat lightly. "I deliver supplies, sometimes information. Figured I'd see if anyone here needed a hand." She studied him for a long moment, then nodded slightly. "Lyra Venn," she said. "Supplies, I might need some, yes, but I'm busy." Rafe's eyes drifted back to the leather cuff. A soft, bluish light pulsed from beneath it, faint but steady. "That's an interesting piece of tech you've got there," he said casually, trying not to sound too curious. Lyra's expression stiffened. "It's nothing. Just something I use for work." Rafe raised his eyebrows. "You don't mind if I take a closer look?" "Don't," she said sharply. "Don't touch it." "Don't remove it. Not ever." Rafe paused. Her tone wasn't just warning, it was pleading. He nodded slowly, raising his hands. "All right. I won't touch it, for now." But curiosity, Rafe knew, had a way of sneaking past even the strongest promises. He spent the next hour talking with Lyra, learning about the little town, the rare shipments of water and fuel that occasionally made it out here, and the strange storms that swept across the desert. She was careful, measured in her words, never letting on what the cuff really was. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting the town in a soft orange glow, Rafe felt a restlessness in his chest. He wandered closer to the workbench, pretending to admire some of the small tools scattered around. His fingers itched. "You really shouldn't," Lyra said, watching him closely. "I know," Rafe replied, his voice low. "But I can't help wondering. You've been keeping it from the world for a reason, I'm guessing. That usually means it's important." Lyra's eyes softened for a moment, a flash of vulnerability passing over her face. "It's more than important," she said quietly. "It's dangerous." "Dangerous how?" Rafe asked gently, stepping a little closer. "I can't explain fully," she said. "Not yet, but it's not meant to be seen. Not by anyone." Rafe nodded slowly. "I get it. Really, I do. But some things are hard to ignore. Some things they call to you." Lyra studied him for a long moment. "You don't understand," she whispered. "If it's removed, the universe changes. Things you can't imagine." Rafe's eyebrows lifted. "Universe changes?" She nodded, the glow from the cuff reflecting in her eyes. "I've carried it my whole life. It's meant to stay there. If it's taken off, well," she trailed off, unwilling or unable to finish the sentence. Rafe didn't speak. He understood the weight of her words, even if he didn't fully grasp their meaning. There was a strange magnetic pull in the room now, and the faint humming of the cuff filled the silence between them. Night fell over Copper Sands, and the two of them sat in the small room, quiet except for the soft hum. Outside, the desert wind howled through the cracks in the walls, carrying sand and the distant call of some nocturnal creature. Rafe found sleep impossible. He lay on the small cot in the corner, eyes fixed on the cuff. The glow seemed to pulse with a rhythm, almost like a heartbeat. His mind wandered to the possibilities. What could be under that leather cuff? Why was it so important? And most of all, why had Lyra warned him so strongly not to remove it? Curiosity, stubborn as ever, gnawed at him. By the time the first light of dawn crept through the window, he had made up his mind. Rafe rose quietly, careful not to wake Lyra, and approached the workbench. The leather cuff glowed faintly in the early light, casting small, shifting shadows on the walls. He reached out, fingers trembling slightly. Lyra stirred in her sleep, muttering softly, "Don't." Her voice was weak, half a whisper, half a dream. Rafe hesitated, hand hovering just above the cuff. The hum seemed to grow louder, filling the room, vibrating against his skin, and then with a deep breath, he pulled. The leather came away easily, revealing the device beneath. It was small, metallic, and etched with patterns that shimmered like starlight. The hum grew into a soft, melodic tone, and then it happened. The room was filled with light. Holographic projections sprang to life, swirling around him in intricate patterns. Stars, planets, and glowing lines formed a three-dimensional map, expanding outward in every direction. Rafe staggered back, eyes wide. "Rafe, what have you done?" Lyra's voice was sharp now, full of alarm. She had woken and was standing at the edge of the room, hands outstretched. I don't know," Rafe whispered, mesmerized by the swirling projections. It's beautiful." "It's more than beautiful," Lyra said, stepping forward cautiously. "It's alive, and now it knows you exist." Rafe could barely speak. The device projected star systems he had never seen, planets that seemed impossibly large or impossibly small, connected by glowing threads that pulsed like veins. Somewhere within the projections he'd glimpsed movements, something alive, something aware, something waiting. Lyra reached for the device, but Rafe held it just out of her reach. "I didn't know," he began. "I warned you," she exclaimed, her eyes wide with fear. "You were supposed to leave it alone, not touch it, not even look at it." Rafe swallowed hard, heart pounding. I couldn't help it." Lyra's expression softened slightly, but the tension didn't leave her face. "Curiosity is a dangerous thing," she said. "And now we have a problem." The light from the device reflected in Rafe's eyes as he looked at her. He realized in that moment that this small, glowing object, something he had almost taken casually, was connected to something far bigger than either of them. Something that could change everything. The hum of the device continued, steady and insistent, and for the first time in his life, Rafe Dalton felt truly small in the universe. Outside, the twin suns rose fully, casting light over copper sands. Dust swirled in the streets, and the wind whispered across the empty town. Inside, the room pulsed with alien energy, and the cowboy and the mysterious woman stood, frozen, on the edge of a story that was only just beginning. Rafe knew one thing for certain. Whatever came next, nothing would ever be the same. And somewhere in the projections, a distant star flickered, a silent signal that their journey had already begun. The glow from the device filled the small outpost like a second sunrise. The room no longer felt like the dusty shack Rafe had entered hours ago. It was now alive with light, patterns, and stars. The air hummed with quiet energy, almost like the planet itself was listening. Rafe stood frozen, holding the small device in his hands. His eyes darted around, trying to take in the intricate holographic projections that stretched across the room. There were stars, planets, glowing threads connecting them, and symbols he didn't recognize. "It's a map," he said finally, voice low, "but not like any map I've ever seen." Lyra nodded, her face pale. She took a hesitant step toward him, hands held slightly out. "It's not just a map," she said. "It's alive, Rafe. The device it connects to the universe. It knows things, sees things, that no one was supposed to see." Rafe turned the device over in his hands. Its metallic surface shimmered under the glow, and he noticed faint etchings that seemed to move like tiny stars drifting across the surface. "Alive? You mean it's conscious?" Lyra hesitated, then nodded. "Yes. It's a seed left behind by a civilization long gone. A civilization that understood the cosmos in ways we can't even imagine. It was meant to guide life, to protect it, but only if the seed is respected. If it's removed without care, it awakens things that can't be controlled." Rafe swallowed hard. "Things that can't be controlled?" Lyra's eyes grew wide, and she motioned toward one of the holographic threads. Look, that thread, it leads to a planet they called Veyron. Once it was thriving, now it's gone. The thread shows its destruction. Rafe leaned closer, mesmerized by the tiny planet on the projection. He could see swirling colors of cities, oceans, and forests, but they flickered and then vanished, leaving only darkness. Destroyed? He whispered. Yes, Lyra said softly. And there are more. The device, it shows what could happen to the universe if the seed is misused. The air in the room seemed heavier. The hum of the device pulsed like a heartbeat, syncing with Rafe's own. He felt a strange pull, almost as if the device was trying to communicate directly with him. He reached out and touched one of the glowing threads. Instantly, the projection changed. He was no longer looking at a tiny map in the room. He was seeing entire planets from above, their clouds swirling, oceans rippling, cities glowing. It was as if he could feel the wind on the surface, smell the air, and hear the faint hum of distant life. Rafe, Lyra's voice was urgent. Don't linger too long. It's tempting, I know, but the device, it can overwhelm you. It shows the truth, but it can also change the way you see the world forever. I can't stop, Rafe whispered. His eyes were wide as he followed the threads, seeing planets rise and fall, civilizations flicker, and stars ignite. It's amazing, beautiful, and terrifying. Lyra stepped closer, gently placing a hand on his shoulder. It's not meant for one person alone. That's why I carried it all this time. The seed chooses. It chooses carefully. And now, it has chosen you. Rafe's stomach tightened. Chosen me? Yes, Lyra said. By removing it, you've awakened it. The device sees you now. And it knows. Things about you, about your past, about your future. Rafe swallowed hard. He had never felt so small, so aware of the vastness of the universe and how little he understood it. He realized then that curiosity had pulled him into something far beyond a simple desert town. Can it guide us? He asked. Lyra nodded slowly. It can, but only if we understand its rules. The threads, they connect everything. Planets, life forms, energy, time, it's all connected. We could use it to protect worlds, or accidentally destroy them if we make the wrong choice. Rafe felt a shiver run down his spine. The weight of responsibility pressed on him, heavier than any armor he had worn, heavier than any law he had enforced as a bounty hunter. He looked at the glowing threads, stretching across the room like veins of light. Where do we start? Lyra took a deep breath. We start with the signal. When you remove the device, it sent out a call. Something, or someone, is coming. They've been waiting for the seed to be disturbed. Rafe's eyes widened. Coming? Here? Yes. They're intelligent. They won't just take it. They want to see if the one who removed it is worthy, or if they're not, they could take everything. The words made Rafe's heart beat faster, but there was no fear in his voice. Only curiosity tinged with awe. Then we better understand it before they arrive. Lyra nodded. Exactly. That's why I've stayed here all these years. Waiting. Protecting. But I never expected someone like you to come along. Rafe tilted his head, studying her. Why me? Lyra shook her head. The seed chooses without reason. Sometimes it chooses the cautious, sometimes the brave. Sometimes the reckless. Rafe laughed softly, a dry sound that echoed in the glowing room. Well, that would be me, wouldn't it? Lyra gave a faint smile, but her eyes stayed serious. Yes, and now you have to learn fast. There isn't much time. Over the next hours, Rafe followed Lyra through the projections. She guided him, showing how each thread represented a world, a people, a possibility. The longer he looked, the more he realized how fragile the universe was. Every thread connected not just locations, but events, choices, and outcomes. A single misstep could ripple across galaxies. Rafe reached for a thread leading to a bright blue-green planet. He watched cities rise and fall in seconds, seeing lives compressed into moments. Lyra warned him against focusing too long, but he couldn't look away. He felt a strange sense of connection to the planet, as if he were living the lives of its people in flashes. Suddenly the device pulsed strongly, and a new projection appeared. It was different from the others, sharper, more defined, almost alive. Rafe stepped back, staring in awe. The projection showed a figure. humanoid, but unlike any human he had seen. Its skin shimmered with starlight, and its eyes glowed faintly blue. Lyra's hand tightened on his shoulder. "That's the Guardian," she whispered. "It was left behind to watch over the seed. If the device is disturbed, it will appear, and it will judge whoever holds it." Rafe's pulse quickened. "Judge? Me?" "Yes," Lyra said. "It's not here to hurt you. But it will test you, see if you are capable of handling what you've awakened. If not, it could take the seed away. Or worse, leave it vulnerable to others who would misuse it." Rafe took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment. The Guardian's gaze seemed to meet his even through the projection. There was intelligence there, awareness and an unspoken question. "Are you ready?" I don't know," Rafe admitted, almost to himself. "But I want to try. I have to try." Lyra studied him for a moment, then nodded, then listened closely. "The device communicates not just with your eyes, but with your mind. Focus. Don't let curiosity rule your actions. Let understanding guide you." Rafe nodded, closing his eyes briefly. He felt the hum of the device through his fingers, not just in his hands but in his mind, as if thoughts and images were being shared directly with him. He reached out once more, touching a new thread, a planet that glowed with strange orange light. Visions exploded in his mind. Cities suspended in air, rivers of liquid light, creatures that shimmered like glass. He saw moments of joy and sorrow, invention and loss, all compressed into seconds. The experience was overwhelming, but instead of fear, Rafe felt wonder. He realized then that the universe was far bigger, far more beautiful, and far more interconnected than he had ever imagined. Lyra watched silently, guiding him, letting him experience without interference. Hours passed, or maybe minutes. Time felt strange near the device. The projections shifted and changed, creating new threads and new worlds. Finally, Rafe stepped back, breathing heavily. His mind was buzzing with knowledge and understanding, yet a part of him felt incomplete. The Guardian's projection remained, silently watching. Lyra reached out and placed the device back on her arm, securing it under the leather cuff. "The first step is done," she said, "but this is only the beginning. You've seen the possibilities. Now, you need to learn the rules. The universe will test you, Rafe, and we have to be ready." Rafe nodded, determination in his eyes. "Then let's get ready. Whatever's coming, I won't let it catch us unprepared." Outside, the twin suns sank behind distant dunes, casting copper sands in shadow. The desert wind howled through the streets, carrying whispers of the universe's hidden mysteries. Inside, the glow of the device faded, but its hum lingered in Rafe's mind, a constant reminder of the journey ahead. And somewhere, beyond the stars and threads, the Guardian waited. The desert wind outside Copper Sands had shifted overnight, carrying a cool scent of strange minerals that Rafe had never smelled before. The twin suns had barely risen, but already the town seemed different. Shadows stretched oddly across the cracked streets, and the distant dunes appeared to ripple as if the desert itself were alive. Rafe stood on the balcony of Lyra's outpost, holding the device carefully in his hands. He had spent hours studying it since the previous day, watching its holographic threads shift and pulse. Every time he touched it, new worlds appeared, spinning and glowing, revealing civilizations he couldn't begin to comprehend. Lyra came up behind him, her steps quiet. "You slept well?" she asked. Rafe shook his head, a faint smile on his lips. "Not really, but I can't stop thinking about it. About the threads, the worlds, the Guardian. I keep seeing things in my dreams too." Lyra nodded knowingly. "The device connects to your mind as well as your hands. The more you interact with it, the more it reveals. But be careful. Sometimes it shows truths you aren't ready for. The mind can bend under too much knowledge." Rafe turned, eyes wide with curiosity. "Truths? Like what?" Lyra hesitated, then said softly, "Alternate realities. Possibilities. You might see yourself in ways that feel real but never happened. Or worlds that could exist if choices were different. It can be disorienting." Rafe frowned. "Disorienting, huh? Sounds dangerous." "Yes," Lyra said, "but necessary. If we are to protect the seed, you must understand the consequences of actions on a cosmic scale." Rafe took a deep breath and nodded. "All right, I'll try. I want to learn. I want to understand." Lyra led him inside. The room was dim, the soft hum of the device filling every corner. She secured it under her leather cuff again, but Rafe's eyes were drawn to it immediately. "I think I need to hold it again," he said. "I can feel it calling me." Lyra studied him carefully. It chooses who can wield it, Rafe. If it's calling you, then it trusts you. But remember, curiosity alone is not enough. Focus, understanding, and patience. You need all three. Rafe nodded. He reached for the device once more, feeling its hum pulse against his fingertips. The moment he touched it, the room seemed to dissolve around him. Stars appeared out of nowhere, swirling around him like snowflakes in a storm. Threads of light connected distant worlds, glowing and shifting. This time the visions were stronger. Rafe felt himself lifted, as if floating between planets. He could hear the faint hum of cities, the rush of oceans, the whisper of winds across alien landscapes. Colors he had never seen before painted the sky, and creatures of impossible shapes moved across the worlds with grace. "Keep focused," Lyra's voice echoed in his mind, though she was still beside him in the real world. "Don't get lost." Rafe tried, but the visions were overwhelming. He reached out, touching a glowing planet, and instantly he was standing on it. The air was crisp and smelled of sweet flowers and rain. He saw a city suspended in the air, glowing with soft golden light. People moved gracefully on floating walkways, their laughter mingling with music from instruments he didn't recognize. Then the scene shifted. Rafe blinked, and suddenly the city was crumbling, the people fleeing in panic. Rivers of golden light twisted into storms, and the floating walkways cracked. He stumbled back, heart racing. Lyra's voice cut through. "Do you see? The device shows not just what is, but what could be. Choices, possibilities, consequences. This is why the Guardian watches so carefully. Every thread you touch can change the story of a world." Rafe steadied himself. "It's like walking through dreams. But I can feel the lives there. I can feel their joy, their fear. It's real to me." "Yes," Lyra said softly. "That is why it is dangerous. Many have looked and lost themselves. You must remain grounded, Rafe. Your reality, your purpose, remember them." He nodded, trying to focus. The threads shimmered under his touch, each one a living story. He reached out to another planet, this one glowing with blue and silver. It seemed calm, peaceful. Rafe felt a gentle warmth wash over him like a comforting hand on his shoulder. He smiled. But the calm didn't last. A sudden pulse from the device threw him into a new vision. This time he was back in Copper Sands, but everything was slightly wrong. The dunes were higher, the shadows longer, and the town seemed alive. Buildings breathed subtly, and the streets twisted in impossible directions. "What?" Rafe muttered. He stumbled, feeling dizzy. Lyra's voice was firm. "This is the quantum divide. The device can show you alternate realities, versions of what is, or could be. Be careful. The mind can struggle to separate them from what is real." Rafe took a deep breath. "So, this is why it felt different outside this morning. The desert. It wasn't just the desert, it was shifting." "Yes," Lyra said. "Places close to the seed sometimes bend. The fabric of reality thins. You must learn to walk it without losing yourself." As he tried to calm his racing mind, a new presence appeared in the visions. A figure rode across the horizon on a strange metallic horse that hovered slightly above the ground. The figure wore a long coat like a cowboy hat, low over the eyes, and its face seemed robotic, yet strangely human.
"The Guardian?" Rafe asked, heart pounding.
Lyra shook her head. "That is something else. An old AI left behind by the ancient civilization. It was meant to guide those who were chosen, to teach them how to navigate the threads. You must meet it, but it tests patience and courage. Don't rush." Rafe nodded. The AI Cowboy approached in the vision, tipping its hat slightly. Its eyes glowed faintly, reflecting the stars around it. "You have been chosen," the AI said in a calm voice that echoed through the quantum space. "The seed calls to you. You must learn its rules, or the threads will unravel." Rafe swallowed hard. "I want to learn." The AI studied him silently for a moment, then gestured toward a glowing path that led across a desert of starlight. "Then walk," it said. "Every choice will teach you. Every vision will test you. And only when you understand will the seed trust you fully." Rafe followed the path. Each step shifted the scenery. One moment he walked among floating islands of crystal. The next he was in a city of light, moving silently among beings made of pure energy. Every place he visited showed a lesson. Patience, observation, empathy, and understanding the consequences of even small actions. Hours, or perhaps days, time felt meaningless here, passed, Rafe learned to recognize which threads were stable and which were dangerous. He discovered how to slow visions that moved too fast, how to step back when reality bent too sharply, and how to trust his instincts. Finally, he stopped before a thread glowing brighter than the others. The AI cowboy appeared beside him. "This thread shows what could happen if the seed falls into the wrong hands," it said. "You must see it, so you understand why your role is vital." Rafe nodded, bracing himself. He touched the thread. Immediately, he was shown a world where the device was misused. Forests withered, oceans dried, cities collapsed, and civilizations vanished in moments. He could feel the sorrow, the despair, the hopelessness. But he also saw hope, people working together, small acts of courage trying to restore balance. When the vision ended, Rafe sank to his knees, breathing heavily. The AI cowboy crouched beside him. "This is your lesson," it said. "Knowledge carries responsibility. Choices matter. The universe is fragile and yet resilient. Remember this, and you will not fail." Rafe looked up at the stars in the vision, feeling the weight of his journey. I understand," he said. "I think I do." The AI nodded once, tipping its hat, then returned. "The Guardian will judge when the time is right. For now, carry what you have learned. And remember, the threads are alive. They will guide you if you listen." In a blink, Rafe was back in Lyra's outpost, the device safely under her cuff again. The room felt small, familiar, and yet different. He could still feel the hum of the threads in his mind, a reminder of everything he had seen. Lyra watched him silently. "You've walked the quantum divide," she said softly. "Few ever return unchanged. You are ready for the next step." Rafe stood slowly, taking a deep breath. He felt a mixture of exhaustion, awe, and determination. "Then let's prepare. Whatever comes next. I'm ready." Outside, the twin suns shone high in the sky, but something had changed in the desert. The air seemed charged, the dunes subtly shifting. The threads of the universe were moving, and Rafe knew it was only a matter of time before the next test arrived. He looked at Lyra and nodded. "We're not just in a desert anymore. We're in the middle of something bigger." Lyra smiled faintly, a mixture of relief and caution. "Yes, and we'll face it together." The device pulsed gently beneath her cuff, a quiet reminder that the universe was watching, testing, and guiding them both. And somewhere beyond the stars, the Guardian and the AI cowboy waited. Rafe Dalton felt a strange mix of fear and excitement. The frontier had grown, stretching across galaxies, threads of light connecting life in ways he could barely imagine, and he was part of it now. The journey had only begun. The desert wind carried a strange stillness that morning, as if the planet itself were holding its breath. Copper sands lay quiet under the twin suns, the dunes shimmering faintly like waves of gold. Rafe Dalton stood at the edge of the outpost, the device humming softly beneath Lyra's leather cuff. "Today it comes," Lyra said, her voice steady but tense. "The Guardian will appear. It will judge you." Rafe nodded. He felt a mixture of anticipation, awe, and nervousness. For days he had walked the threads, seen countless worlds, and experienced possibilities beyond imagination. Now it was time for the final test. Lyra led him to the center of the room. "The device is alive," she said. "It has watched your choices, your understanding, your patience. The Guardian will appear to see if you are worthy of handling it. And remember, it's not here to punish, but to guide." Rafe took a deep breath, steadying himself. "I understand. I'm ready." Outside, the air shimmered. A soft hum echoed across the desert, faint at first, then growing stronger. The sand began to swirl, lifting in gentle spirals, forming patterns that reflected the holographic threads he had seen before. And then there it was, a figure descending from the sky, glowing faintly with the same light as the device. The Guardian. It was taller than a human, sleek and elegant, its body shimmering like starlight wrapped in silver. Its eyes glowed softly, reflecting the desert and the twin suns above. It moved gracefully, silent as a whisper, stopping before Rafe and Lyra. "You have walked the threads," the Guardian said, its voice calm, musical, and layered with echoes, as if many voices spoke at once. "You have seen what could be, what should be, and what might never exist. You have learned patience, understanding, and responsibility, but knowledge alone is not enough. Are you ready to carry the burden of the seed?" Rafe swallowed, feeling the weight of its words. I think so," he said. "I want to protect it. I want to use it wisely." The Guardian tilted its head slightly, studying him. "To protect is not simply to hold. To protect is to guide, to choose wisely, and sometimes to let go. The seed watches not only the universe, but those who wield it. Are you prepared to make choices that may affect countless lives? Rafe hesitated. He thought of the worlds he had seen, the civilizations rising and falling under the thread's glow. He thought of the possibilities, the mistakes, and the beauty he had witnessed. I will try, he said finally. I will do my best. The Guardian's glow intensified, surrounding him in warm light. Your humility is noted, it said. You will not be alone. The threads themselves will guide you. But remember, curiosity must be balanced with wisdom, and knowledge with care. Are you ready to see the future that the seed can create? Rafe nodded, his heart pounding with both excitement and caution. Yes! The device pulsed gently beneath Lyra's cuff, responding to the Guardian's presence. The air shimmered, and suddenly Rafe found himself standing not in the outpost, but among the threads themselves, floating in a vast space of stars and glowing lines. He could feel every planet, every world, every possibility stretching before him. Lyra stood beside him, calm and steady. This is the space of the seed, she said. Every thread is a life, every light a choice. Walk carefully. Rafe stepped forward. The threads shifted under his feet, responding to his thoughts and intentions. He saw worlds in balance, worlds in chaos, and worlds that had never been. He realized that the Guardian had given him a final lesson, not just to observe, but to understand the delicate balance of all things. A thread pulsed brighter than the others, drawing him toward it. He followed, and the vision changed. He was on a planet where cities floated in the sky, connected by bridges of light. The people moved with purpose, helping one another, solving problems together. Rafe could feel their joy, their cooperation, and their harmony. Then the scene shifted. He saw the same planet, but in disarray. Storms raged across the skies, buildings crumbled, and the people struggled to survive. He realized that even small choices, actions he had taken or neglected, could ripple across the threads, affecting countless lives. The Guardian's voice echoed around him. You see now, every action matters. Every decision is a thread in the fabric of the universe. Do you accept this responsibility? Rafe swallowed, his hands tightening slightly. I accept. A gentle warmth spread through him, and the threads seemed to hum in agreement. He felt a connection to the universe like never before, a deep understanding of both its fragility and its resilience. Lyra smiled faintly. You are ready, she said. The Guardian has judged you, and you have passed. But there is one final lesson. Sometimes protecting means letting go. Rafe frowned. Letting go? Yes, Lyra said. The seed cannot be kept by one person forever. It must guide, it must teach, it must move when the time is right. You may not always hold it, but the choices you make while you do will shape the future. Rafe thought of the countless worlds he had seen, the civilizations he had glimpsed, and the delicate balance of life. He realized that his curiosity and courage had led him here, but wisdom meant knowing when to step back. The Guardian extended a glowing hand. You are ready to return. The seed will remain with you, but you must remember your lessons. Carry them into the universe and guide with care. Rafe stepped forward, feeling the threads beneath his feet ripple gently. He looked at the Guardian, nodding. I understand. The light of the threads began to fade, drawing him back to Copper Sands. The outpost returned around him, the device safely under Lyra's cuff once more. The desert was quiet, golden under the twin suns. The wind stirred the dunes gently, carrying the faint hum of the seed. Rafe exhaled, feeling both relief and awe. He had walked the threads, faced the Guardian, and seen the fragile beauty of the universe. He realized that life, everywhere, was connected in ways he could never fully grasp, but he could guide it, even in small ways. Lyra placed a hand on his shoulder. You did well, she said softly. The Guardian trusts you, and so do I. But remember, the journey is only beginning. The universe will always test those who hold the seed. Rafe smiled faintly. Then we'll be ready. As they stepped outside, the desert shimmered with light. The dunes shifted gently, reflecting the threads he had seen in his mind. The twin suns hung in the sky, warm and golden. For the first time, Rafe felt both small and significant, small in the vastness of the universe, yet significant because he had been given a role in guiding it. The device pulsed softly beneath Lyra's cuff, a quiet heartbeat echoing across the outpost. Rafe reached out, letting his fingers brush against it. A gentle warmth spread through him, a reminder that the seed was alive, aware, and guiding him still. He turned to Lyra. We've seen so much already, but I feel like this is just the start. There's so much more out there. Lyra nodded. There is. Countless worlds, countless possibilities. But now you are ready to face them. Together. Rafe looked out across the desert, feeling the wind on his face. The dunes stretched endlessly, golden and alive. Somewhere beyond them, the stars waited, threads of light weaving through space, connecting life in ways he could only begin to imagine. He took a deep breath, feeling the hum of the seed in his mind. The Guardian's lessons echoed softly, reminding him of responsibility, understanding, and balance. He knew that curiosity would always be part of him, but now it was tempered with wisdom. The desert wind stirred again, lifting grains of sand into the sunlight. The threads of the universe pulsed faintly in the distance, invisible but present, guiding, waiting. Rafe Dalton, the cowboy who had touched the device, who had walked the threads, who had faced the Guardian, felt a quiet certainty. Whatever came next, he would face it with care, curiosity, and courage. The twin suns rose higher, casting long shadows across copper sands. Life in the town was still, but it no longer felt empty. The universe stretched beyond the dunes, full of possibilities, and Rafe knew that his journey was far from over. But for now, he was ready. The seed pulsed gently beneath Lyra's cuff, a heartbeat in the quiet desert, waiting for the next thread to call. And together, they would answer it,